We're joined now by the Minister of Natural Resources and Attorney General Tom Marshall. I know that he was trying to get on yesterday, but we ran completely out of time. I'm delighted you were able to join us today, Minister.
Well, thank you, Bill. It's always a pleasure to get on and have an opportunity through you to speak to the people of the province about concerns that they have.
And there's a lot of concerns out there. You probably noticed.
There are, and that's why we like to. Well, we don't like to go on too often, right? We don't want to hog the program,
right?
But
hello.
Say hello.
Okay.
Bill, the first point, if I may, is. I think Jim Morgan was on your show, and he referred to this request for financing that the government, or NALCOR, I should say, has put out.
Right.
And Mr. Morgan concluded that that there was a problem with financing the project. He referred to a statement of the Minister of Finance some months ago. He said there's no problem financing Muskrat Falls. We'll put bonds out and we'll have the bonds sold in 20 minutes. Now, I think he was referring to me. And what I said was that I had been in Toronto a year or two ago, meeting with bank officials. And one of the officials, well, he's more than official, he was a senior member of the executive of the bank, had indicated to me that the NALCOR bonds with the government guarantee would probably sell out in 15 minutes, not 20.
Right.
So I just wanted to clarify that, and I know Danny Dumaresque was also on one of the talk shows, and he interpreted the request for financing, and I've got his words here. He refers to the request for financing, and then he says we've now abandoned the bond market and we're going into the junk market because the project is not feasible. And this, of course, Bill, this is totally incorrect. I mean, the bonds that NALCOR will be selling are guaranteed by the government of Canada. They have a AAA rating. Moody's has already given it a AAA rating, and the government of Canada, the government of Canada's credit rating right now is stronger than the United States of America. So these certainly are not junk bonds. I mean, junk bonds are bonds that are sold by companies whose bonds are not considered of investment grade.
Yeah.
These bonds will have the guarantee, an unconditional and unqualified guarantee of the government of Canada, and therefore will be AAA and will sell very quickly.
On that point, before you just move on, Minister Marshall, it must be galling to hear people outside the political sphere, very opinionated people, come on and give out on the public airways what you have said are wrong information, pieces of information, factually incorrect information. I mean, what do you say behind closed doors about these people? Do you call them a bunch of morons or what? I mean, how do you react to it?
Well, either they just don't know the difference, and if they do know the difference, then they're misleading the people of the province. So, and some of these people, they've been cabinet ministers in the past. They know. And so it's very concerning. I understand why people would be opposed to a particular project, but I can't see how anyone would try to misrepresent, what NALCOR is doing and call the bonds that is going to be issuing junk bonds. And
so experienced, intelligent people who have been ministers before in other administrations can only be deliberately misleading the people, in your view.
Well, I can't say that. You can put that question to them, but it's very, very strange.
Gotcha. Yeah.
What's happening here is that there's such interest in these bonds that we're in a position we don't have to say to our lead underwriter, we don't have to say, all right, will you do it for us? Try to sell them, try to dispose of them, and charge us your fee. And their fees are quite high because there's so much interest in these bonds. Is that we're in a position to go and make it competitive. So we're putting it out to all the underwriters out there. Come on and bid, and that way we'll knock their fees down because their fees can be very, very high.
Yeah.
So there's not many that can do that, but because of the interest, because of the fact that the bonds are guaranteed with the government of Canada, because of the fact that our province hasn't gone to the bond market in many years, we're told there's a lot of interest in debt that would be put out by the province.
All right, now on that point, there's several other points. Very quickly, I'll just throw them out. It
Sure.
seems that the Muskrat Falls and Nalcor and this project seems to be attracting criticisms and critics like flies. I don't know what it is about the thing, but I mean, you got the Innu in Quebec who wanted to turn down, going to court to have the matter dealt with in a negative way. Mm-hmm. You have allegations that wood is being piled up around Muskrat Falls with no plan for its utilization, wasting a resource. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the undertone of the criticism. You have allegations that look what's happening over there in Pasadena with the Trans-Canada Highway with this red slippery clay that exists in great amounts at the Muskrat Falls site and risks the engineering viability of a dam being put up there. It's probably all hogwash, but there's an awful lot of criticism.
There is. It is a major project, and I'm told, Bill, that when Bay d'Espoir was built, you had the same thing was happening. There were people opposed to it that didn't think, and would criticize every part of it. And once one argument would be shot down, they move on to another argument. They would keep constantly criticizing it.
Well, what about?
You never hear about Bay d'Espoir anymore.
No, you don't. What about the wood being piled up? Do you have a take on that?
That is a major issue. I was we had a joint cabinet meeting with the Nunavut government, and they raised that.
Yeah.
There's going to be this one-time wood being cut from the clearing of the reservoir, and that contract was let recently. So you're going to have all this wood, and they're going to stack it. And then the question is, what do we do with it? Mm-hmm. Now, we'd like to get some of it to the North Coast, because they have an interest in it. But there's going to be... they won't be able to handle it all. So one of the things that's happening right now is that we have an EOI out, expressions of interest for people to submit proposals to the government for the wood that's going to be available, for the fiber that's going to be available in Central. And we're now going through, there's a number of, I think it's 7 expressions of interest have come in, and the department is now going through those. And so hopefully in the not-too-distant future, we might have a solution. Is
this dealing with it sort of after the fact, or was this the original plan ab initio from the very, very beginning of the project to deal with any resources like that, I wonder?
Well, I think the two things are happening at the same time. I mean, we've done the EOI for the Grand Falls, or for the Central Newfoundland wood. Yeah. And now, we have this wood that's available in Labrador as well, in Central Labrador. So we're looking for we would like to see someone to come in with a project that will, maximize the value of the wood for the people of Central Labrador and the people of the province. But this wood has come up as well, this one-time supply of wood. So, obviously nobody wants to see it rot there. So we're now looking in cooperation with the Nunavut government as to what we can do with that.
And on another issue, probably as a lawyer, as Attorney General, and as Minister of Natural Resources, is it possible that a group, interested group, people who claim to have a vested interest in what's going on, in this case the Quebec Innu, who brought the matter to court, I mean, is it possible? Do you envisage a scenario where any group such as that can, in fact, put the kibosh on the project and somehow either delay it or make it non-viable financially with the problems they're raising?
Well, I have to choose my words very carefully here. The matter is in court right now. Yeah. We are not a party, but we are represented. We were there. We're there, and we're obviously contemplating. And I think that will become clear in the not-too-distant future as to what that move will be. We have a duty, since there is an assertion of a right, we have a duty to consult. And we have been doing that, and the courts, both the Federal Court of Canada and the Newfoundland Court of Appeal, has said that we have been meeting the standard of consultation in spite of allegations that we haven't been. Yeah. And we will, take whatever interest is necessary to protect the people of the province.
Okay, well, that one seems to be a delicate one. We'll see the outcome of that. The problem with talking to a minister such as yourself is that there's so much interest, eh? And if you'd like to say anything else about what you originally called up about, I do have another question for you on another topic within your purview as Minister of Natural Resources. Anything else you wanted to say?
Well, I had said to you that I'd get back to you with respect to the Crown attorneys and the budget cuts, right?
Right. Yeah.
You may recall there were 4 positions affected. One was a policy director, and there were 3 Crown prosecutors, 1 in Central and 2 here in St. John's. Mm-hmm. 4 positions, but there were 5 people involved in those positions, and the 3 Crown attorney positions have been put back. So the only cut is the policy director position. And all 5 people that were in those 4 positions have all, my understanding is that they have all been offered employment within the Crown Division of the province. I think 4 have accepted.
Right.
And we're now going through the competition process, or the advertising process and the competition process for two in Happy Valley Goose Bay. And also, there's some funds that we can now hire a young lawyer, an additional young lawyer,
right,
over and above all that, for the Crown's office as well. So that's where we are now. There's still, my understanding is when you ask the question, how many people in the Crown's office or how many people in a division of government, you can never get an exact number because, there may be people on maternity leave, there may be people seconded to other divisions, and some of those people are coming back. And so until we see that, there may be a couple of other moves we'll be making as well.
All right. Well, we have so many people waiting to go on,
Sure,
Minister. We need to move on now. But let me issue an invitation to you to give us a call when it's convenient for you to do so. Have a chat about what's going on in the fracking. You were going to look at some scenarios out west, and we had a company that jumped the gun and had to be sort of slapped down a little bit. So it's kind of an unnerving development there. Do proper justice to that now. Will you give us a call and talk about that?
I'll be happy because I'd like to. The premier and the Prime Minister. What happened there, and the CETA agreement and trying to access tariff-free into the European market, and the request that we eliminate the minimum processing. The Premier certainly, I think, put the Prime Minister's office and let them know clearly where our intentions were and what our position was, and protected the province there. And I was really proud of how she handled that.
All right. Well, next time you call, we can talk about that. The problem is trying to deal with all these important matters on a standalone basis would take hours on end. So we'll have to do it in, digestible chunks over the days to come. If you could do that, Minister.
I'd be happy to.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill.
Right. All the best. Bye-bye. Minister Tom Marshall, who's Attorney General, a lot on his plate there. And Minister of Natural Resources, a lot on his plate there. Former Minister of Finance, a lot on his plate there. So trying to deal with it all is impossible, of course, in one fell swoop. So we'll deal with it in the future.